Monster Hunter, my favorite hunting series. I mean, really the only one, truly. I absolutely love Monster Hunter. I've been playing for half of its existence, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? Half the time it's been around. It's a 20th anniversary this year. And I started playing back in 2013, which is, again, kind of crazy to think about. It's been 11 years. But I love the series. So I guess people would consider me a veteran of sorts of Monster Hunter. So now with the Wilds beta finally done, what are my thoughts? Let's find out. So as I said earlier, I started playing Monster Hunter in 2013 with the release of Monster Hunter 3U on the 3DS. And that game was, I mean, it's just a very special title for me, not just because it was the first Monster Hunter game, but it was also a game that I got into when I was kind of going through a rough period in my life. And it helped me cope with a lot of stuff. But it also reminded me of how much fun local co-op and just co-op in general in gaming could be when people go towards a similar objective, right? And help each other succeed in that. So Monster Hunter has just always been a big part of my life. And when World was announced, that's essentially one of the earliest memories of this channel popping off. I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this video right now, you're familiar with our Monster Hunter World reaction back in 2017.
It's literally Crash Bandicoot. Monster fucking Hunter!
I'm sorry! Holy shit!
Holy shit! It's Monster Hunter!
It's been 7.5 years since then. Why is time so fickle? But anyway, it's also safe to say that I'm very excited for Monster Hunter Wilds. And obviously with this beta that just came out, I put in a good 7-8-ish hours between both the PlayStation 5 version and the PC version. So I have thoughts. Quite a few of them, in fact. And I'm going to break it down essentially. I want to talk a little bit of the bad, I want to talk a little bit of the good, and then what my overall thoughts are in regards to Wilds as an overall package. So let's get started with the bad. And yes, there is some bad stuff, or at the very least some stuff that needs work. The first thing I'm going to mention is the performance. On the PlayStation 5, you have two different modes you can choose. You can choose the resolution mode, which is a 4K 30 FPS locked mode. The frames can drop a bit, but it's more consistent than the performance mode, which is an unlocked frame rate mode, which has, I think it looked like it was going from like 40 to 60 FPS with a much lesser resolution. And honestly, the resolution quality took too much of a hit. The frames were fine, the FPS was solid overall, it didn't look too bad, it looked really fluid. But that resolution, guys, it's rough. I mean, I'm going to show you right here the game on PC running at, 45 to 50 FPS, and that same footage, or at least as close as I could get, on the PS5. It is staggering how different they look. The PC version is very clearly the more, not necessarily fluid, but more clear. It's so clear. And I was playing the game at 1440p. On my PC. I can't even tell you what the resolution is on the PS5, but it looked sub 1080. I mean, it could even be as low as 720. I don't know, but it looked really, really rough. This will definitely need to get worked on before the full release. The menus are also a bit cumbersome. I mean, I hate to say it, but in most of Monster Hunter, and I feel like maybe it started to get a little bit worse with World, the menus are a bit overwhelming and a bit cumbersome. And in here in Wilds, it just takes too long to do much of anything. In particular, joint exploration, to do that, you need to have a link party. So to set up a link party, you have to go to the link party menu, find the friend you want to hunt with, and send them the invitation. Once they accept, then you invite them to the environment link. Once you do that, everybody kind of resets and gets, to join the same environment, the same area, right? So it's called the same instance of the world. And then you guys can go out to hunt, which is really cool. It's one of the best things about Wilds. But I think that to get there, it's a little too much. I think that it should be a lot more simple to get that started. And then going on that tangent of the environmental link, you can't post quests or join quests when you're doing that. Weird choice, not sure why that is that way, but hopefully it can be changed, or at least give us an explanation as to why you can't post a quest when you're already out in the world hunting with your friends. Another negative, I think the monsters flee way too often. You'll be right in the heat of battle, doing your combos, getting your stuff, getting your groove on, getting those power-ups and nice buffs going, and then the monster just decides to dip and out, and fuck you, I'm out of here. No, please, stay there for another 2 minutes or so, please. It feels like it's just too fast, you know? You get the groove going and they're out. I don't like it. I think it needs to change. And you know, if this is the design of Wilds, it's not a good one. There's two. You want to fight the monster. You don't want to be chasing it constantly. The chase is part of the experience. Monster Hunter is a game where it's an ebb and flow of combat. There is give and take. There's too much give here. You're following them too much. So please, Capcom. Now, focus mode, which is one of the newest additions to Wilds, feels good overall, but I need to remember it. Now, this may be because I feel like I don't need it, right? I've had thousands of hours of playing Monster Hunter without a focus mode, but now that it's here, I mean, it is useful, right? It is very useful. There's a lot of good things about focus mode. There's a lot of things that can help, like, expedite the process of getting, like, certain buffs, for example, but I just need to remember it. It could be a me issue. It could be just build the muscle memory, and then at that point, it'll just kind of work, you know? And I did feel the same way with wire bugs when I played in low rank. It didn't feel like it was necessary. Obviously, it was a hell of a buff, right, to your movement and to your attacks, but I didn't feel like it was needed or necessary, like I said earlier, until master rank. Will that be the case in Wilds? I hope not. I hope that focus mode doesn't feel optional, and it feels like something that you need to do for certain monsters. It doesn't have to be for every monster, but at least some of the design of the game has to make me feel like, okay, yeah, focus mode is a great addition that is needed. And then, specifically for one weapon, because I didn't use every single weapon, but one weapon that stuck out for me, the Insect Glaive. I love the changes that they made to the weapon, but there's one that felt weird. When you take out the weapon, there's a charge move that you can do if you hold the B or circle button, and it just doesn't flow well. Right? You're in the air, you're pressing Y to do certain attacks while using the triggers to aim your Kinsect, and then you have to hold B and let go of B once it's fully charged to go into another attack, and then you have to hold like the left trigger and then press B to do like an extra super cool ultra attack. It doesn't necessarily have to flow in that order, but I'm trying to explain to you how it feels. It doesn't feel good. It feels cumbersome. So maybe that could be something they could think about, maybe either changing it all together to make it flow better without having to change the options, or giving you the options to like change bindings for buttons. Now, one of the big things, this is probably the biggest thing, and I wasn't aware of this, or at least I wasn't consciously aware of this until I saw a thread that my friend shared from Maximilian Dude. Hit stop. If you're not familiar with hit stop, just to give you the most basic simple terms that I can, it's when you land an attack and there's almost like a freezing of frames, usually only a few, and that gives you the effect of that attack being very powerful. This is not in Wilds. Every single Monster Hunter game before Wilds had this, and it made some of the bigger attacks really feel like you could see and feel the weight of those attacks. It's not in this game at all, and I felt something was off with the combat, at least with the switch axe, and I couldn't put my hand on it. I thought it was the sound design at first. I kept thinking like, damn, is it just the sounds that don't feel crunchy or something, right? I looked back at the footage and started listening to it. It wasn't the sound. The sound design is great in this game. And then I saw that threat and it just blew my mind. Like, oh, that's it. It has no hit stop. So Capcom, I implore you, if you guys are taking feedback, which I'm sure there's going to be a survey of sorts, please listen to this. And if you guys are listening right now, you do take the survey, mention hit stop. They need to be aware. I don't know why they would change this. It is crucial to action games to have good feedback. Hit stop is part of that. Okay, now let's talk about the good. The game looks great. Textures are really high quality, especially on the PC. And like I mentioned earlier, the sounds are also really high quality overall as well. The environmental sound design is believable and engaging, and like most people have said, Ray Dao, like the sounds that this monster makes are so freaking cool. It's like metal grinding on each other. This really otherworldly, almost alien sound, which is so cool and so unique, right? Like whatever, it feels like borderline alien, and I like that a lot. Also, the music is like fantastic. The music has been one of my bigger like sore subjects when it comes to Monster Hunter since the old generations have had like incredible composers. I felt World's overall composition was pretty weak, and Rise was a step in the right direction. Wild so far, really good. I love all the themes that I've heard so far. And the monster designs, so far, really, really different from what came before, while still feeling very much in line with like the established Monster Hunter universe. Raid Dao is really a standout monster. I love its look and design, and I can't wait to see what the weapons and armors from its parts look like. The changes to the weapons are great too. The Switch Axe feels really good, and so does the Insect Glaive, which reminds me of its 4U counterpart, which is, again, not a bad thing. I think what excites me the most as a Monster Hunter World veteran is how the grinding will look like in the final game. So, as you play the game and you look through your map, you're going to notice that there's just so many of the same monsters constantly spawning in and out of existence. And so many, not just of the same, but just monsters in general. And there's even a forecast of sorts that tells you when those next monsters will appear. This should theoretically make grinding a little bit easier, as you can just kind of hunt down the next monster within the area as you see fit, as long as they're spawned, of course, without having to like leave, post a quest, go back to the area, wait for loading in between those two things, then finding the monster, hunting it. It should theoretically make grinding a lot easier. And I hope that if this is the case, the grinding feels like it's adjusted. I don't want to just spend 10 minutes fighting the same type of monster and have all the parts I need. I mean, I don't also want to spend 40 minutes fighting the same monster without getting the parts I need. I just think that it should be a nice balance, since grinding is one of my favorite parts of Monster Hunter. So I just look forward to seeing the full vision realized. Though, a small caveat, can we maybe change the time of day if we're doing like purely exploration based hunting? It would be nice to not have to just sit around and wait for like a Raid Dao to spawn, you know? So, as a vet of the series, I think Wilds hits the fantasy of the old generations of Monster Hunter pretty well. While it's wrapped in an obvious modern package with a bigger emphasis on its story, and a lot of quality of life features, which some of those can be divisive. Overall, to me, the future of Monster Hunter feels very exciting. I hope we get a full demo before release, so we can get even more eyes on the game, because Monster Hunter is a series that means a ton to me, and I just want more people to play it, to give it a shot. It's not an easy to pick up series. I've already talked to some fellow colleagues, some fellow content creators that tried the beta, and they felt that it was a little too cumbersome, not too, immediate with its actions. I had to explain that, everything takes commitment. It does take some time to really come to grasp with its combat mechanics and how just the game feel overall is, because it is very unique. So, I don't know. I think people need more patience overall, and that's funny coming from me, because I lack a lot of patience. But anyway, guys, what do you think of the beta if you got your hands on it? Are you happy with the changes to the combat and the exploration and all that? Is there anything that I may have missed that I should have talked about that you want to ask? I mean, comment down below if you want to. But yeah, that's it for today. So I will definitely be covering Monster Hunter Wilds in the future. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if you want more of this content. If you want to hunt with me when the full game releases, definitely do that. And I will catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.